Yeah, I just thought about that as I released the mic. That I didn't actually like put the question in there. It's just all like preface. So basically, the question is in light of that, do you still have the same view of what you mean when you say church and state? To me, it's church as an institution, not individuals who also happen to be members of the church, which would be George Bush, because George Bush, as I'm aware, did not represent any church in office in particular whatsoever, or even any religion, just religion in general.
Well, I guess it would be like, how do I say this? Like things like things motivated by faith. Um, I don't really attend to.
Well, if I may, I truly believe that the Founding Fathers, when they set up the um, system of government that we enjoy today, they simply did so to keep from a theocracy taking over the way it was in the country that they left. They had the Church of England. They didn't want the Church of the United States. They wanted people to freely be able to worship or freely not be able to worship, how they choose. Now, that doesn't mean that people who are non-believers should be banned from office. That doesn't mean that people who are fundamentalist Christians should be banned from office, or fundamentalist Muslims, or fundamentalist Satanists, or fundamentalist any belief system should be banned from office. Now, what it does say, and you'll find this in a lot of the writings of the Founding Fathers, is that it would behoove you to elect Christians to rule over you, because that is the way this particular system was originally designed. But that's not a necessity. It would behoove you, but it's not a necessity.
So let me ask you a question, Christian Hillbilly, and I assume your answer is going to be yes. When you hear like the more liberal types of people say that they want separation of church and state, does that read to you like they don't want people who have your belief system to have any say in government at all? Because that's how I interpret it.
Well, let me give you an example so we have a level playing field here, and so we know we're comparing apples to apples. Let me talk to you about my friend AAL. Atheist at Large, Debate Faith, as he likes to go by. Oh, he'll be the first one to tell you that there should be nobody with any faith whatsoever, that you should check your faith at the door of the courthouse or the White House or wherever it is you're serving in government. No, sir. That's not the way it's supposed to work at all. And those kind of people, when they say separation of church and state, that's exactly what they mean. They don't really know. As a matter of fact, they'll be the first ones to tell you that our Founding Fathers were predominantly deists or atheists. They have no clue what our history truly is.
Not all of the Founding Fathers were Christians.
I didn't say that.
No, Thomas Paine, yeah. Thomas Paine.
Most of them are deists.
Yeah, Thomas Paine and Jefferson specifically. Paine was an atheist and Jefferson was a deist, I believe.
Ben Franklin was a crazy ass.
Yeah, Christian Hillbilly. George Washington said he had two books on his nightstand. One was the Holy Bible, and the other was a political book by Cicero.
George Washington was a great guy, and we would be a lot better off if the people who came after him would have listened to his advice.
Especially on foreign policy. I think the quote from George Washington is, "Trade with all nations, alliances with none."
George Washington had slaves.
Though you kind of didn't answer my question, Christian Hillbilly, but I guess she sort of did. But I asked you, when people say separation of church and state, does that make you feel marginalized, like you're not welcome in the political process?
Well, no, it doesn't make me feel that way personally. I take it that that's their stance, that they want to marginalize people of faith, such as myself. But no, that doesn't bother me in the least. They can have their belief systems. They'd be wrong, and I'd stand up and fight for everybody's right to run for office or do whatever it is they need to do in the political arena. Because, again, it's set up that way, that everybody has the right to do so. But it would behoove us to elect Christians. Excuse me.
Well, you realize that the way it's set up now isn't how it was originally set up. Previously, to even vote, you had to be white and a landowner and a male.
Oh, sir, I know that there's been changes over the years. I think it should remain that you have to be a citizen of this fine United States to be able to vote, but some people are trying to change that.
Oh, Asa. Also, Plato held the position that only landowners should be allowed to vote, and since men were only allowed to own, or the only ones allowed to own land, then that would then make, landowning males. And the reason that he felt this way, I think Aristotle actually felt this way too, was because people who own land and businesses in a country have a far more vested stake in how well the country goes, and people who are poor and have nothing to lose. They have no stake in the direction of the country at all, because they really can't get too much worse off than they already are. So that wasn't like an arbitrary reason, that are just like, screw it, only us. They had logical reasons for why they chose those things.
Well, yeah, but only men were allowed to own land, and that's limiting the gender of the voter based on something that wasn't in that little logical equation either.
Yeah, that part is true. I think that's just patriarchal tradition.
Well, it's just sexism, actually.
I don't know if I'd go quite that far with it. I don't know that, I can think it's like a discriminatory type thing, directly. I don't think that the intention was to directly discriminate. It's just that back then, when you own land, it was, you had to, improve the land yourself, and women generally weren't capable of doing those sorts of things.
Excuse me.
This really goes up the turtleneck. You say that people should pass an IQ test in order to vote. When you say that, it makes me think that, okay, if I need an IQ test in order to vote, there should be an IQ test to run for office. Because look at Sarah Palin. Do you think she has a high IQ at all? She definitely does not. Now, if you're saying I need an IQ test to vote, and she needed an IQ test to freaking get into office, chances are you wouldn't even have her.
Yeah, I think that they should have to take an IQ test to get in office. That's a great idea. They should also have to take a drug test.
Well,
they didn't vote for her. She was nominated by McCain. It's not like anybody freaking, I don't understand what you're going with that.
I just wanted to say that you could have an IQ of 165 and be batshit insane, believe absolutely off-the-wall stuff, and I don't think that being a politician or being in office is about necessarily being intelligent. Because generally, they just do whatever. It's more important to have intelligent advisors than to be intelligent yourself. Like, Barack Obama doesn't pore over all this fiscal policy and all the logistics. They get recommendations from people that they personally trust. So I think it'd be more important to make sure that your politician's a good judge of character and intelligence and others, but not only that, but charismatic enough to organize people.